Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kalika and you're gonna be a slightly spicier person after watching this video. Talking in the quiet area? I'm gonna slightly mess up your knitting project. This happened today. I was at a sauna and trying to relax a bit in the quiet room, or Ruheraum in German. I might have butchered that, I don't know. I had finally found a place to lie and read, and I'm next to two women who not only were huddled together whispering, they also set up an encampment on their chairs, making it so no one else could use them when they decided they wanted to go to the steam room, or something like that. The sauna was crowded, and I didn't think it was fair that they were monopolizing those chairs, and that they insisted on holding a conversation in the quiet area. Like, there are literally a dozen other places you can sit and talk, leave us in peace. The revenge. I've knit for more than 20 years. One of them, I noticed, was a new knitter. I could tell she was new by the way she was clutching the needles, concentrating on her stitches, and deliberately making each movement. She was starting a pair of socks and was on the knit 1, purl 1 section of ribbing at the ankle part of the sock. Her project was arranged on 4 needles. When they left to go to wherever, leaving their things behind on the chairs, I grabbed her needles. I wanted to cause a little problem with her project. I didn't want to ruin it, which I could have done by adding a stitch or dropping off one of the needles. Instead, I did a row of all knit stitches across one of the needles. It's something that's not going to destroy what she's doing, but in a few rows, she'll notice the section of all knit stitches and wonder what happened. It's an easy thing to fix with a crochet hook if you know what you're doing, or an annoying time of unknitting your work if you don't. Or leaving it and staring at the section of stitches wondering what happened if you really don't know how to fix a mistake. When I left, she and her friend were looking at the section trying to figure out what happened. Double revenge. This happened decades ago. My friend and I were somewhere around 16 or 17 years old. We went to lunch after getting some money for washing a couple of the neighbours' cars. It was a typical Chicago Greek diner. It's a thing here in Chicago. Typical diner, owned by Greeks. It's like IHOP plus 5 Grecian selections. Old people love it because nothing has no salt and it's cheap. We go in, get seated, look at the menu, and then wait. And wait, and wait. Finally, this beastly cow of a waitress comes over and asks if we wanted drinks. You could tell she was already thinking she wasn't going to get a tip. My friend and I, even to this day, are very generous tippers for good service. Anyway, we ordered our drinks and figured we'd order our meals when she came back. We waited, and waited, and waited. She finally came back, dropped off the drinks and just walked away. I flag her down. She rolls her eyes and comes over all crabby and pissed. I tell her that we're ready to order. She lets out a huge sigh and flatly says, "Yeah." It was such a crappy tone, I'll never forget it. She takes our order and walks away. We talk about how she's a witch and we assume she's pissy because she thinks she's not going to get a good tip. I suddenly get the idea to give her some motivation. I tell my buddy the plan. I wave her over. By the way, the place was empty. We waited because she didn't care. We didn't wait because she was busy. I wave her over and she has this look on her face like I'm interrupting her from discovering the cure for cancer. As she got closer, my buddy starts handing me a 20. As she got to the table, he said, "At least let me leave a tip." I replied, "Just leave it on the table." So she wouldn't snag it right then, he put it under the salt shaker. I look up and ask her if she can bring the ketchup when she brings the food. Boy did she perk up. That $20 bill was just the sight to get her juices flowing. All of a sudden, we had water, we had ketchup, we had updates on the food and when it would arrive. She was downright pleasant. Well, as you can imagine, we were starting to feel guilty because the original plan was to take the 20 and leave her nothing. We got our meal. It kinda sucked. But she came back and checked on us. We told her the food wasn't very good. It was super bland and the burgers were way overcooked. She rushed off to get the owner. We told him about the burgers and he said, "Aw, well that's just too bad." No apology, no offer to make it again. What a jerk. We choked on our burgers with some extra ketchup and I head off to the bathroom. As I'm nearing the bathroom, I hear the owner and the waitress in the kitchen. I couldn't make out what he said, but I heard her say, "When those little jerks started complaining, I wanted to kick their little asses." I went to the restroom and made my way back to my friend. I told him what was up. and the guilt was gone. We went to the front to pay, and yes, we took the $20 tip with absolutely no hesitation. The owner was at the register, and I actually asked how everything was. I told him the service was bad, the food was bad, and I remember saying, "And you were just rude." He said, "Sad for you, I guess." I got a higher level of revenge later. I'll admit that it didn't impact him horribly. He now has a second location, and I'm sure he's filthy rich from serving low quality food to old people who've blown out their taste buds. The other revenge was when I told my grandmother. She used to go there every single Saturday evening with 4 to 5 friends. She was also still working and would order lunch from this place, along with several other co-workers. That all stopped. She told people not to order from there and they started going other places. It didn't really hurt the guy, but he definitely lost business. And I've never been back either. My buddy and I pass by every now and then. We generally give the place the finger and say, "Frick that guy" in unison. So childish for being in our 40s, but, well, frick that guy. That's a hell of a long time to hold a grudge. But it's not undeserved. Seat hogging? Get jogging. So I'm on the way home from the shops and I decide to take the bus. Really, it's only about 3 stops away and I should probably walk, but it's the middle of Australian summer. I'm wearing thongs, my bags are heavy, and, most significantly, I'm a lazy jerk. So I jump on the bus home and it's pretty full. No problem, like I said, only going 3 stops. Not far, more than happy to stand. I'm shuffling through the aisle past other standing people though, when suddenly, about halfway down, I see it. A middle-aged woman hogging a whole seat to herself. Now, I catch public transport every day, and let me tell you, if you take up a whole 2-person seat by yourself when other folk are standing, mate, that's 5 years gulag in my book. Not only is this woman not sharing the seat, she's moved herself to the aisle side as to discourage anyone from sitting down. Not on my watch. Now, previously I had been perfectly content to stand, but that's all over now. I walk on over to this woman, look her straight in the eyes, and with my nicest young man voice, broad smile and most unwavering gaze, ask if I can please sit there. She glares daggers at me, but relents, but not by shuffling over though. Instead, she stands in place with a huff and turns her shoulder a few centimeters to the right to indicate that yeah, there's a seat, but if I want it I can squeeze past. Oh, you done messed up, honey. I am not in the least bit dissuaded. Happily, I squeeze past the standing woman, and gosh, well I sure am a big clumsy boy carrying some bulky ass shopping, aren't I? And there is just not a lot of room between these seats. It takes me a few seconds to shuffle my lumbering ass all the way in, by which time the lady's taken a few whacks of the old green bag in my grocery laden backpack, not to mention being stumbled over once or twice by my big old uncoordinated feet. It's so hard, walking in thongs. I sit down in contented silence. She lowers her huffing self down next to me. I spread out and brush up a little with my hairy legs. She fixes me with a glare. We sit in silence for 2 minutes, and then, wouldn't you know it, my stop arrives and this woman is forced to get to her feet once more so we can do the whole dance again on the way out. Slap, go the grocery bags. Slap, slap, slap. Hope you enjoyed your personal space, which, next time, just shove over. Slap, 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 slap. That woman was probably left battered and bruised by the time he was done. Impatient rude worker yells at me for being too slow, gets a taste of his own medicine. I'm 30 and work as a truck driver delivering roll-off containers, dumpsters, to construction and roofing sites. The containers themselves are unique in that they have porta-johns attached so workers get waste and garbage solutions without extra phone calls. When the client fills a container, I run them a replacement and take the full one to dump it, swapping them out as a process though, as I have to service all the bathrooms in addition to swapping dumpsters. Last week, I got a call for a swap at an apartment complex. The dumpster rested next to the building and the crew was throwing the old roof onto the dumpster below, 2 stories. But the thing is, the swap dumpster has to go in a particular spot. So the process is setting the new one nearby, picking up the old one, setting that down next to the new, transferring excess garbage to the new dumpster, running new dumpster in the same spot, also servicing all 4 bathrooms, 2 each, and hand tarping the old one. This process takes about an hour. Now, I'm not extremely smart, but I'm smart enough to know that with them throwing things off the roof, not to work underneath them, so I do all my work about 100 feet away in the parking lot. A particularly impatient worker was hounding me to get the other container in the spot because they have more trash to throw in there, and I was trying to explain to him that I'm working as fast as I can. Wasn't good enough for him, but I eventually got it in there. Fast forward to today, I got a call for another swap at the same location. This time, the crew wasn't there, as I was there before their workday started. I noticed they had chained their ladder to my dumpster, so I figured I'd get everything serviced while I waited on them. Crews sometimes do this to prevent theft so they can leave it there overnight, also to keep them from having to lug a big ladder from their job site back and forth every day. I get it, but chain it to the water meter on the building or something. 40 minutes later, I'm done servicing and tarping, and at this point waiting on them so I can physically swap containers. I'm a no bull guy, and had a schedule to keep, so I cut the lock off and continued with my swap out. I keep a hacksaw for things like this. The crew pulls up as I'm driving away, and as I'm sitting at the light, I notice the worker that bitched me out looking at the lock bewildered. I knew the next thing that would happen is they'd have to ask for another lock from their boss. I also knew if they bitched to my boss, the first thing she would say is, "Why are you chaining your equipment to our dumpsters?" I realised I could have waited another 10 minutes, but this gave me a perfect opportunity to give this guy a taste of his own medicine. If you call for pickup, make sure your crap isn't changed our equipment, bitch. I really thought that story was going to go in another direction and he would have been driving off with the ladder attached to the dumpster. That would have been fantastic. Okay, so that's all for r/PettyRevenge. I really hope you did enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. My Twitter, Discord and Patreon links are in the description, and any support is greatly appreciated. And a quick note to my patrons, the patron only video is now live if you would like to watch it. We covered Florida Man, and there's about 4 minutes of bloopers at the end, which I think are pretty funny. And of course, as it's Sunday, I also want to say a massive thank you. BackwardsDDog, Tyler Miller, Jen Burton, Jen Spanning, Bo Walker, Princess Kate, Skyler A, Elizabeth Filmore, Stephen Arnowitt, Shagar, Koltin, James Scanlan, Darkimedes, and David Temple. Thank you all so much for your support. Mwah. That's for you, but keep it between us, okay? Thank you so much for watching. Bye!